All right, today we're pulling back the curtain on a true Canadian icon, Tim Hortons. You know, that daily double-double? But is it really as simple as it seems? Let's find out. So what is really in your daily coffee? You probably think you're just grabbing a quick pick-me-up, but we're going to show you what's actually in that cup. And spoiler alert, it's got some surprisingly high sugar content and a list of ingredients that looks, well, more like a chemistry project than a recipe. And to get a sense of just how big this is, think about this number, 5 million. That's right, over 5 million Canadians stop at a Tim Hortons every single day. When you're talking about numbers that huge, what's in their food and drinks, well, it suddenly becomes a massive public health question. Because the truth? It might just change how you see that coffee run forever. Our whole goal here is to give you the facts, straight up, so you can decide for yourself. This isn't about opinion, it's about what the data shows. Okay, so let's start with the big question. How did we get here? How did Tim Hortons go from this beloved hometown spot famous for fresh-baked everything to a fast food giant? Well, it's a classic story of a corporate takeover where the old promise kind of got lost in the shuffle. It all started back in 1964 with a simple promise, fresh products, affordable coffee. But the game really changed in 2014. That's when they merged with Burger King to form this massive company, Restaurant Brands International. And suddenly, the focus wasn't so much on that original promise anymore. It became all about a profit-first model, driven by the super centralized, industrial way of doing things. And this right here, this shows you just how dramatic that change was. Think about it. The old way, you had actual bakers coming in at 2 a.m. making dough from scratch. The new way? Well, employees take a pre-made, frozen tray, pop it in an oven, and just press a timer. It's a completely different world. So let's deconstruct the menu. Let's really dig into what this industrial reality looks like when it comes to the food and drinks you're actually getting. Yeah, this quote really says it all. This isn't a family recipe. It's a chemistry project. It perfectly captures that shift, right? We've gone from the kitchen to the laboratory. And just look at this comparison. It's wild. A real muffin you'd bake at home, maybe 8 to 10 ingredients tops. Flour, sugar, eggs, blueberries. Stuff you recognize. A Tim Hortons muffin, we're talking over 20 ingredients. And we're not talking simple stuff. We're talking modified cornstarch, xanthan gum, polysorbate 60, things designed for shelf life, not necessarily for you. And hey, it's not just the food. The drinks tell the same story. This quote is another heavy hitter. It's not coffee, it's a caffeinated milkshake. For so many of us, this is our daily coffee, right? But when you look under the hood, it's a whole different thing. Okay, get ready for this. A medium iced cap has 45 grams of sugar. To put that in perspective, a can of Coke has 39 grams. That's right, your coffee drink has more sugar than a can of soda. That's a lot of sugar in one go. So what is an iced cap made of anyway? Well, this chart breaks it down. A whopping 40% is just sugars. Another 30% is modified milk ingredients. The actual instant coffee, just 10%. The rest is fats and stabilizers. So it's basically a sugar and fat drink with a little bit of coffee flavor thrown in. All right, let's switch gears from sugar to salt for a second. Check out this number, 1,180 milligrams. Any guesses what that is? That's the amount of sodium in just one of their bacon breakfast sandwiches. And if that number doesn't sound like much, think about this. That is half of your entire recommended daily sodium limit. And you've had it before 9 a.m. The day's just getting started, and you're already halfway there on your salt intake. Okay, so this isn't just about one person's choice, right? When you have millions of people eating and drinking this stuff every single day, it starts to add up. It becomes a massive public health issue, a national crisis even. And the stats are pretty sobering. Right now, 1 in every 3 Canadian kids and teens is overweight or obese. 1 in 3. That's a huge, huge number with really serious implications for the future. And this didn't just happen overnight. Childhood obesity has actually tripled since 1980. It's been a massive spike. And it's happened at the exact same time that this culture of super convenient, ultra-processed food, led by brands like Tim Hortons, has just exploded. So let's just walk through what a day could look like for a kid.
Maybe a quick stop at Timmys in the morning for a muffin and a hot chocolate. Then another stop after school for a donut and an iced cap. Sounds pretty normal, right? Well, when you add it all up, that's over 125 grams of sugar. That's 4 to 6 times the recommended daily limit for a child. And for a lot of families, this is just a normal day.
And this leads to what is probably the most shocking warning of all. For the first time ever, really, experts are saying that this generation of kids might actually live shorter lives than their parents. Let that sink in for a second. So, okay, that's a lot of heavy stuff. The big question is, what do we do about it? Well, this next part is all about being an empowered consumer. It's about looking at that trade-off between convenience and consciousness and making a choice that works for you. First things first, let's talk about the marketing. You hear that slogan, always fresh, and you think, wow, fresh. But what does it actually mean in their system? It's not about scratch-made. It's an industrial process. It means factory-made, par-baked, frozen, and then just freshly reheated right there in the store. So what are some smarter alternatives? Well, for better coffee, you could try a local cafe. Or, believe it or not, in taste tests, McCafe often comes out on top. If you want cheaper coffee, brewing it at home costs like 35 cents a cup. For a healthier breakfast, you can meal prep your own real egg sandwiches on a Sunday. Look, the goal here isn't to say never go to Tim Hortons again. It's just about breaking that daily, mindless habit and maybe saving it for when you really need it. And that really brings us to the final question, the one for you to think about. Your daily choice. Is it a habit or is it an intention? The next time you find yourself pulling into that drive-thru, just ask yourself that. Because knowing the difference, that's the first step to taking back control.